Good night, everyone. Tonight, God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J. Spirit Divine. I'm here to get a short news in a word. Pretty much, O.J. Simpson. He had, he had passed. He had divorced. O.J. Simpson was an American football player, an actor, a convicted felon, and he played in a National Football League for 11 seasons. Premier with the Buffalo Bills and is regarded as one of the greatest running back of all time. Um, O.J. Simpson in 1985 was indicted into Pro Football Hall of Fame. In 1985, his first year eligible. In 1976, Simpson was again laid the legend in rushing in 1976. Rushing for 1,503 yards and 8 touchdowns. And he was born in July the 9th, 1947, San Francisco, California, and he died April the 10th of this year. He was 76 years old. Las Vegas. And his spouse, Nicole Brown Simpson, and her friend, both had died the same day, Ryan Goldman. And he died the same year, 1992. And the main thing, we all gonna be, sad of his wife had died and her friend Ron Coleman had died. We ain't gonna never forget that. But now we had O.J. Simpson had died. He was a great football player. He was the first black person to be in the league football like that. So he had Dawkins, you know, um, but he was out. At least he lived his life out of prison. So that's all I have for you on that. So I have a story with Jesus. Now, it's so much that come against you, want to do this and do that to you. But God knew it wasn't Jesus' time. The enemy all wants to jump on them and throw them off the cliff and all this stuff. But God can confuse your enemy. You know, because they're confused right now. You know, God can confuse your enemy. He confused Jesus' enemy. There was a crowd out there. Let's do this, let's do that. And Jesus raised up to God and prayed. Before you look around, they all talking among themselves. They forgot what they had wanted to do. And Jesus just passed on by. Now this comes from Luke chapter 4, 14, 30. Jesus returned from Galilee in the power of the Spirit. So Jesus had came in with the power of the Spirit for the work of sharing God true in the synagogue. So he came to preach that word. He came to read a scroll with all he's supposed to do on this earth. He also read something about Isaiah. So the scroll of the prophet Isaiah, was handed to him, unrolling it, and he found the place where it is written. And that's what all this gonna come about. Jesus reading this scroll, and Isaiah getting mad, because Jesus reading about him. Now Jesus reading a portion of Isaiah, which predict the arrival of the Messiah, the promising. Now see, he was a prophet, and he prophesied Jesus, the promised one. He prophesied Jesus' arrival and all this kind of stuff. But Jesus telling him it's not accurate. So then he get mad. Who is you to tell me this? So this discord was Jesus reading, talk about Isaiah. Now he wanted to take Jesus over the cliff, but no, it is not Jesus' time yet. So it wasn't Jesus' time yet, to be crucified. So God has stopped it. And then it was another time that people wanted to kill Jesus. It wasn't his time, you know. And so the Spirit of the Lord is on me because he had anointed me to proclaim the good news to the poor. See, Jesus came down to help the poor, to heal everyone, you know. And so that's what he here for the good news. And so Isaiah not trying to hear that. You know, so Jesus' words, you know, giving healing. So that's what he was down here for healing. You know, description of the work that he would do, profiling him as one and powerful by the Spirit of the Lord, and recovering of sight for blind. He healed the blind, you know, the sick, the lady that was bleeding with the blood. You know, he did it all. You know, now Jesus finished reading the scriptures and it's fulfilled. You know, now Jesus prayed to himself as a fulfillment of the prophet. You know, and as the one able to offer salvation, you know, to all who hear him. You know, and see, he had went home. Yeah, he went home, and that's when he got rejected. You know, so that's what Jesus said, who all want to hear the word, because he's not going to make you. If you don't want to hear it, Jesus go somewhere else, because that's what he did. He left his sign and went somewhere else and preached that gospel to someone that want to hear. You know, and so all the people in the synagogue was furious when they heard this, and now they mad. You know, and they like, who is him? Who is him? You know, and so they heard what Jesus read, you know, and they all mad. You know, they violence. You know, now Jesus looked up to God, you know, and then God kept Jesus from stoning. You know, and they got up and drove him out of the town. They got Jesus. They mad what he was reading. That's what all this is about. They got mad for what he's reading. You know, sometimes the enemy will get mad what you doing. You know, all he was reading the scroll because he felt like Isaiah give a false testimony. You know, he did the arrival of Jesus and it wasn't correct. You know, so the town grabbed Jesus, trying to bring him out of their town, you know, and took him in the broad daylight of the hill in which the town was built in order to throw him off the cliff. Now they that mad that they want to throw him off the cliff because he was reading something, you know. So what the people tend to do, the process of stoning, that's what they was going to do. They were going to just throw rocks at him, big old large rocks. They were going to just throw rocks at him, you know, until he dead. And they already was putting him by the cliff, and then they was going to throw him off, you know, to throw the large rocks at him. And the person until they die, thinking to dropping him off the cliff. That's just how mad they was with Jesus. Just how mad they were with Jesus, you know. But he walked through the crowd, you know, and went on his way. Now they tried to put him by the cliff, and they tried to take him out. They wanted to stone him, but in the midst of it, he just walked by the crowd, gone and had them confused. You know, and that's what God will do. He'll have your enemies confused. They'll forget what I want to do to her. You know, what I want to do to her. And you'll wind up walking right past the crowd. In the mix of the crowd. Jesus walked past by. You know, but he walked right through the crowd and went on his way. You know, the people shouted. They shouted, throw him off the cliff. Throw him off the cliff. But then after a while, they forgot they wanted to throw Jesus off the cliff. You know, but Jesus had passed through the middle of the crowd. And so he escaped out of their hands because God had them confused. You know, they started talking among themselves. They forgot when they wanted to throw him off the cliff. You know, because it wasn't Jesus' time yet. You know, so God put them in a confusion. and that's what it is. He on his journey. And he they cannot take him out, and it wasn't his time. So that's what God put them in confusion. And Jesus walked on through the crowd. They forgot they wanted to throw him off the cliff. They forgot they wanted to stone him. They just forgot they were just that mad. And they're talking among themselves. Forgot what they was doing. Forgot we want to stone him. We want to throw him off the cliff. They forgot all about Jesus. And Jesus just walked out through the crowd. Because God hadn't put them in a confusion. Right now they confused. They're confused of what's going on. How is this possible? And so God kept Jesus from stoning. God rescued him by extraordinary miracle from immediate death. See, it wasn't his time yet. Jesus on his journey, and he had to complete his journey. God wasn't going to let them take him out when he wasn't complete. So God going to always step in. And then God stepped in and used an extraordinary miracle, because he put them in confusion. But they're talking among themselves. They forgot all about Jesus. They forgot they wanted to stone him. They forgot they wanted to throw him off the cliff. Because God put them in a confusion. And Jesus just walked on through the crowd. And see, sometimes, when it ain't your time yet, God will put people in confusion. Put them in confusion until you complete your journey. Jesus complete his journey. It was another time. It was twice. Just the stoning, and it was another time they wanted to take Jesus out. God said no. God said no. It's not Jesus' time to be crucified yet. And Jesus complete his journey. And then it was his time. And so Jesus went on by his business. Because he looked up to God. He like, God, I'm on my journey. I'm not finished yet. Well, I'm not finished yet. But what to do, God? And there was a big crowd out there. And so next thing God said, turn around. When he turned around, everybody just talking to themselves. Talking to each other. So God, Jesus had his backpack, and he just went on by his business. Went on by his business. And so that's the story of the Jesus on his journey. Bad enough he went home and got rejected. And then he had to come through here to Gentile and all this. And he had to deal with this here. The devil just busy. You get rejected at home. Then he came through here to go somewhere else. And then he was about to get stoned. So he had to look up to God. And God said, oh no, you're not ready yet. And God, put him in confusion. See, when we pray to God, we don't know how God gonna handle the situation. He had his back towards the cliff, because that's how they had him. But then when he turned back around, God said, turn around. When he turned back around, they talking to him on themselves. So he like, all right. I'm just go it on by my business. And so, let me wonder how you do it. She must have God on her side. Jesus, how you do it? He must have had God on his side.